Republican contenders for 2012 are hitting key primary states to try to boost their chances of winning back the White House. So far, the GOP field is still relatively slim officially, but that is not stopping potential candidates from generating some serious buzz. Shira Toeplitz is a political reporter for Roll Call. Shira, good morning.
Thanks for having me this morning,
So we
Alex.
had Donald Trump as the key headline speaker at a Tea Party event in Florida yesterday. He's been certainly gaining a lot of traction in recent polls, and we have one survey, Shira, which shows he's now tied with Mike Huckabee for the top spot. You know, how do you interpret all that? Is that a realistic interpretation of where people stand and feel about Donald Trump as a potential president?
In a word, no, Alex. Look, these early polls are kind of indicators. They show perhaps how much name ID someone has. And Donald Trump, given his fame, his celebrity, his television show, has very high name identification with voters. So when someone calls you up, a pollster calls a voter up and gives them a list of names, voters say, oh, I've heard of him, I'll pick him. But no, it doesn't really show what kind of campaign Donald Trump would run if he decides to run for president. Furthermore, how strong of a candidate he will be. So remember, if he does decide to run, he's going to have to answer reporter questions, and he's going to have to go through a grueling campaign. And maybe some of his answers will change voters' thoughts about him.
So do you think he is electable?
I think there's a slim chance. I think he could get perhaps some votes in certain states, but I don't think he's generally electable under normal conditions in a campaign season.
Okay. Sarah Palin also appeared at a Tea Party rally in Wisconsin on Saturday. What if these two, Trump and Palin, both decide to make a run for the presidency? I mean, how might this play out among the Republican Party in terms of the support? And would this be something the Democrats would say, bring it on, we are loving this, and use it to their advantage?
Oh, Democrats would salivate over a situation like this. You have these two very outspoken conservative Republican candidates who have no problem bringing up things like the birther controversy or things like illegal immigration, and they would just absolutely, I mean, Democrats would love it. If Donald Trump and Sarah Palin start talking about things like birthers, it gives Democratic operatives every reason to call up reporters like me and say, have you asked Tim Pawlenty about this? And then we decide to try and get an answer out of Tim Pawlenty or Mitt Romney on the same thing. Absolutely. It's great for Democrats.
Okay, so you bring up Tim Pawlenty, Mitt Romney. What about Mike Huckabee? How do these guys go about waging a successful campaign while competing with Tea Party candidates?
Well, they have to make a calculated decision pretty early on which way they're going to go. They can either try and compete with these Tea Party candidates and talk to Tea Party activists and really compete for that section of Republican voters, or they can try and stake their claim in another part of the arena. Let's remember the universe of Republican voters who show up for these primaries in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. It is a finite universe, so they have to decide which side of the spectrum, which area of the spectrum of Republican voters they're going to shoot for.
Okay. Shira Toeplitz, good to talk with you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up.